Really glad you're with me today, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Our guest on this segment is very well known in this area. He is what I call a real broadcaster, and well, John Erling is his name, and he walked away from the biz some years back, and he's putting his talents, incredible talents, to work in a way that benefits all of us. John Erling, welcome.
Thank you, Sam.
Good
nice
to have
be
you
here,
lad. You've started a thing called Voices of Oklahoma. Explain it to the folk at home.
Yes. Many will know the name of Walt Helmrich, of reading of Helmrich and Payne and of Utica Square fame. He's no longer with us. And I'm a North Dakota farm boy, and I'm wondering why this oil man wants to have lunch with me once a month. But we did for about 12 years, and he'd tell me all these great stories. And then I thought, well, I shouldn't be the only one, in addition to his family, hearing these stories. I was driving down the street one day. I don't know about you, but I get many ideas when I'm just driving in my truck. And if I took that story and I put it on a website for others to hear it. So he comes back from out of town, and I ask him about it, and he said, well, yeah, that might be fine. My grandfather, Colcord, he wrote a book and nobody read it, so I don't want this either. I don't want to write it. I said, well, you don't have to. I'll come and record your stories. So we recorded it. How did you like that? Fine. Okay, we'll put it on a website. He said, that'd be okay. Could you get your friend Henry Zero to record his story? He says, I will. And then their two foundations got me off the ground financially. And then when you say Walt and Henry have recorded, then other people said, oh, okay, I can do the same. So that's how it started.
And if folk want to hear these interviews, they go to the website?
Voicesofoklahoma.com.
So
Voicesofoklahoma.com, right.
I have been there on numerous occasions, and I have to tell you, I'm so envious. But then I'm not surprised. You have always been, in my opinion, one of the more talented individuals I've ever known or ever been around. And don't let that go to your head. All right. But I mean it very, very sincerely.
Thank you.
I recall when I moved to Oklahoma, I was familiar with a fellow named Johnny Martin.
Yes.
Who was on at night on KRMG, and we could hear him at the University of Arkansas when I was a student. When I came over here, John Erling, what's that? I started to listen, and it was like a stimulus, drug or some kind, and I could not turn you off.
Well, good, thank you. I came in '76. I'd been in Omaha, Nebraska for 5 years, and then I came in '76 here, and then Johnny Martin was on at night, of course, and that's when we discovered the Tulsa Mountains, and everything took off for me.
Oh, I know. You have an example. Can you share with us of something we might hear on the website?
No, I can't.
Okay, then. We're out of time. No. What
Well,
have you got?
we have this book that we just published in December, and this book is designed to lead people to the website because we have part of the story, and then we can say, for the
Rest of the story.
Thank you. Go to the website, voicesofoklahoma.com. And so that's what this is all about. And the students in high school and college and professors and instructors are using it in their classrooms because they say that students who listen to oral history have a stronger retention factor than those who just read about it, and that kind of makes sense.
Sure.
And so it's really for research, but for all of us who are interested in great stories. And speaking of Henry Zero, and we're living here in Will Rogers country, particularly, in our book, it's in the book as we say, Will Rogers and his nephew and niece had a place at 124 East Independence. These are quoted from Henry Zero in our book. And Will Rogers asked my dad, do you have the money to buy a house, this house? And Henry's father said to Will, well, I don't know if I do or not. And Will Rogers says to him, if you come up with $500, I will absolutely make this deal work. And the house was $2,500. You come up with $500, and for $2,000 of groceries at the store for the next year for my daughter, then we've got a deal. Will was a little businessman, wasn't he, when he did that? So it's just fun to have talked to a man who actually talked to Will Rogers. And that's the story of Henry Zero, who also had a store, a grocery store in Tulsa, 13 years old, and he needed $300 to pay for his bills. And he went to the president of the bank, who was living in the hotel there in Tulsa, and he went into the lobby, and he said, "I need $300. And the bank president said, "Well, you're too young." Well, J. Paul Getty was standing right next to him, and J. Paul Getty says to the president, "Why don't you give the boy $300 and let him get going?" So he did. So that was the J. Paul Getty story.
John, has anyone ever interviewed you?
Yes.
Has everyone put a mic in front of you for this?
Yeah, they have, but we don't have it on the website.
Why?
I have 45 voices that need to get on that go way back to 2010. So I've been behind.
But you see, in my opinion, and I'm sure the opinion of a great many of our viewers, you're one of those voices that need to be on there.
Okay, I understand, but I feel funny doing that when I've got voices that I've interviewed a long time ago, and they're not on there. But yeah, it will get on there.
Good.
You know, and as you look at overview of these, it's a study of humanity, that so many of us have those moments in life when somebody said something to us that actually changed our life. I have a story here about St. Francis Hospital. And Bill Warren's father was W.K. Warren, who lived in Nashville, Tennessee. And W.K.'s father had died, and so the young boy at 16 was out doing every odd job, selling popcorn at baseball games. And then he was selling newspapers in the hospital. He went into the hospital selling newspapers, and there was a lady there from Sand Springs who had to go there for a special surgery procedure. And she said, "You ought to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, because oil is booming right now." And he came here, started working as a roughneck, then did establish an oil company, and now we know why we have St. Francis Hospital.
Amazing.
But it was that woman from Sand Springs. She might have been from Dallas. Wouldn't that have been too bad?
Really. And the two just happen to meet and come together.
Exactly.
Get a copy of this book. Where's this book available?
This book is available at Amazon.com, and local bookstores in Tulsa. Ida Red is one of them. There are several bookstores that can be purchased, but Amazon.com, if somebody's listening right now, can go there and order it right now. And sales from this go to producing more books. And as I always like to leave the message behind, everybody should record their family voices, because you'll be very glad that you heard their voices beyond their grave. And so while I can't get around and interview everybody, we've interviewed over 257 have died. You can now do it because you can record them on your cell phone. And by the way, you can listen to these stories on your cell phone as well, mobile devices. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and we'll do it until I can't do it anymore.
When did the idea come? When did it hit you that you were onto something here?
It was, we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary now this year, April 10th, and Wilma Mankiller was our first one on there. And so it's been 10, maybe 11 years ago that I've been onto this and doing this kind of work.
You're in the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. You're in the State History Hall of Fame as well, aren't you?
Right. Yeah. Bob Blackburn at the Oklahoma History Center has been very good to us, been very supportive. He says, "John, you're doing our work for us." And so he's been very much behind us.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for, one, putting the feet of politicians to the fire when I listen to you, two, mocking those that needed it, and three, helping steer a lot of folk in the right direction of life. John, you did a real service to a lot of people and for a lot of people. And for that, I thank you. And it's been an honor for me to know you. And thank you for this book.
Absolutely.
It becomes a must-read for me.
All right.
It's good to see you,
Yeah,
Brent.
Sam, good to see you too.
We should have breakfast sometime.
I want to do that, and
Get
I'll
together
buy.
and get a little gravy.
Right.
All right, up next, working together is good for all involved. We'll have more right after this.